Hey everyone, welcome back to Harry Potter Folklore. So today, I want to talk about Dolores Umbridge and in particular why she was able to produce a Patronus despite having what I'd call the ugliest heart in the wizarding world. For a woman who loves imposing misery, how is she even able to conjure the level of happiness required to even conjure a Patronus? Believe it or not, and what I mean is believe it, Dolores Umbridge is one of, if not the most hated villains in the entire Harry Potter universe. There's even been videos on who's a worse individual between her and Voldemort. Voldemort, who literally killed hundreds of people, and there are arguments for Voldemort being the lesser of the two. I should know, I've made one, but I've never talked about how Dolores Umbridge was able to make a Patronus while she worked as head of the Muggle-born Registration Committee, which was of course guarded by Dementors. So let's just take a look at the character of Dolores in order to get a better understanding of why she really shouldn't be able to create a Patronus. Then we can figure out how she did it. These are my kind of favourite videos, guys, so stick with me if you wanted to go on an investigative route and figure all of this out. There isn't a character I dislike more than Dolores Umbridge, if I'm honest. I can't understand why people hate her more than Voldemort. I'm one of them. In the books, she had me wanting to rip the pages out that showcased her horrible dialogue and treatment towards people. Then I seen her on screen and I have never been more angry watching a movie than I was watching Imelda Staunton's portrayal of her. I mean, on one hand it was absolutely incredible. She nailed it, got the character down to a T. Honestly, for having such little screen time, I don't have any more words to describe how worthy of a performance Imelda put in. I'm not surprised, she's a fantastic actress anyway. Dolores Umbridge has been what I'd call a nasty piece of work since the tender age of 11 when she first attended Hogwarts. Sorted into Slytherin House, she tried to assert dominance quite early on, but her desperation for a position of power became quite evident to Horace Slughorn, her year head. Horace made sure she was never even considered for prefect or head girl, as he believed she'd abuse her position if awarded it. This made her resent her time in Hogwarts and she never really enjoyed any of her school years. Dolores was also pretty obsessed with blood purity, even though she didn't have it. She wanted everyone to believe she was a pure-blooded witch and even went as far as disassociating herself from her Muggle mother and Squib brother while barely accepting her father due to his low-level position in the Department of Magical Maintenance. As they shared the same name, Dolores became more uneasy about being linked to her father as I said, they shared the same name. She convinced him to retire early in exchange for a small allowance that he will be given by the month. As she moved her way up the ministry ranks, she claimed to be related to the pure-blooded Solwyn family and also set her sights on gaining a husband, hopefully a ministry employee like herself. Unfortunately for Dolores, she was very difficult to be around due to her rude, unfiltered persona, which accompanied her quite disturbing views on the magical world. This made her really unappealable and she never succeeded in finding a husband. So you can see early on that her cold heart had already been well developed by then. She also really despised half-breeds and went about drafting an anti-werewolf legislation in 1993, which made it nearly impossible for werewolves such as Remus Lupin to find work. This act also made it easier for Lord Voldemort to recruit werewolves to his cause, preying on their treatment by the Ministry. In 1994, she also campaigned that the Mere People be rounded up and tagged, though this idea was scrapped due to it being too ludicrous to be put into effect. Dolores was even behind the Dementor attack aimed at Harry Potter in order to silence his claims on Voldemort's return, with the Dementors given the instructions to perform the Dementor's kiss. It's absolutely nuts, guys. Then she joins the Hogwarts teaching staff, and that's where it really goes to the next level. Umbridge immediately tried to assert her dominance over Dumbledore's rule from the very first moment when she interrupts his speech with one of her own. She stuck by what she described as a ministry-approved theoretical-based defense against the dark arts curriculum that was clearly designed to weaken students out of Cornelius Fudge's ridiculous paranoid assumptions that the students were ready to overthrow him with Dumbledore at the front. She slammed anyone who even questioned whether Harry Potter could indeed be telling the truth, and inflicted harsh punishments on anyone who disobeyed or misbehaved, with Harry in particular being subject to her blood quill. This is a magical pen that draws its ink source from the blood of the person who's writing with it, leaving a nasty wound on their hand. She actually invented this. She sat there and thought this up, then put it in practice. So I've recapped on Umbridge so you can all see how truly black her heart is and why she shouldn't be able to produce a Patronus. However guys, it didn't stop there. She was promoted to High Inquisitor, where she enforced new educational decree after decree, giving her the power to basically make up any rule she wanted, which of course is a dream for her. Something that I thought was quite fitting, although only featured in the movies, was her intention to have Educational Decree number 29 passed, which would allow physical punishment towards the students at the hands of caretaker Argus Filch. Anyway, then she becomes headmistress and governs the school like a dictator. I mean, it's not too far off the Death Eater regime that ran the school under Snape's leadership. Dolores took it a step further when she threatens to perform the Cruciatus Curse on Harry if he didn't talk. Threatened isn't the right word actually. She was about to do it before she was interrupted. Despite being suspended, she still managed to worm her way back to a job in the ministry and was placed as head of the Muggle-born Registration Committee, in addition to gaining possession of Aleister Moody's magical eye. Then we see her produce her cat Patronus as it sits there beside her the whole time. How did she hold that happy thought for so long to be able to continuously have the Patronus by her side all day? Like literally the entire time. I'm gonna get to that in a moment. So I'm sure you guys can all see just why she shouldn't be able to produce a Patronus. I know I've said this a couple of times, but I really have to emphasize that she shouldn't be able to do one. I mean, just look at all the things she's done. Surely she is evil, right? She has to be evil. No. I'm gonna say no, guys. She is not evil. She's mean, she's cold-hearted, and vindictive, but she's not evil. And here's why. Dolores Umbridge loves power and position. She wants to be highly thought of. She wants to elevate herself as high as possible within the ministry and within life in general. Nothing makes her happier, nothing makes her more happier than enforcing law and order, because, and only because, she's in a position to do so. That's what Umbridge loves more than anything, just being able to be the person who makes an important or even less important decision. She enjoys affecting people's lives because she can. When she was under Cornelius Fudge's leadership, she enforced his way of thinking to the absolute max, because he allowed her to do so. She imposed maximum punishment wherever she could, because she was allowed to do so. It didn't matter to Dolores what side she was on, and I have to say it's one of the few things that the Cursed Child got right in the alternate timeline, how easily she accepted Voldemort's reign. She knew all too well that the Ministry had fallen to Voldemort in 1997 and went along with it anyway, because she finally got to become the head of a department and to be the one in charge. This all stems back to her time as a Hogwarts student and being denied any position of power, as I mentioned earlier in this video. Dolores Umbridge took her happiness from imposing misery on others through law and order. It wasn't the misery she enjoyed though, it was the fact that she could do it without question. That's the most important part to know, guys. I need to stress that again, as it explains why her loyalty changed so quickly. She was literally living the dream. And that brings me back to the question I highlighted a few moments ago. How was she able to continuously produce a Patronus the whole time? The Patronus charm is extremely difficult to master. It requires a high level of concentration, as the caster needs to focus on their happy memories and experiences in order for the spell to be effective. The Patronus then fades away after the caster lowers their wand and resumes normal focus. Umbridge didn't even have a wand, and she looked oblivious to the fact that the Patronus cat was sitting beside her the whole time. Actually, it's kind of a double meaning to this video's title, because it's a double question. How did Umbridge produce a Patronus, and how did Umbridge produce a Patronus the way she did in the Muggle-born Registration Committee chambers? Well, let's answer it, because it's easier than you may think. Dolores Umbridge didn't need a happy memory. She was living pure happiness just by being alive and in her current role. She got to condemn people to the Dementor's kiss if she felt like it. That's what she got off on. Even if the people on trial in front of her were telling the truth, she could dismiss them as she alone was the judge, jury and executioner. That is how she could produce a Patronus for so long. Anyway guys, that's today's video on why Dolores Umbridge could produce a Patronus. As always, leave your thoughts on the matter in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and I'll see you all in the very next video.